Welcome to Bite Size, Insights from New York State PTA, the podcast where the heart of PTA leadership gets a mic.
From the hilarious meeting moments to the heartwarming wins. And yes, even a few oopsies. We're bringing you the unfiltered truth of PTA life.
Whether you're brand new to your role or a seasoned pro, this is your space, your bite-sized dose of insights, inspiration, and connection.
This is Bite Size, Insights from New York State PTA.
Because every story counts, even the ones that could have been an email.
So welcome everyone to Bite Size Insights from New York State PTA, recorded live from the convention. I'm Sonia Varillo, Treasurer for New York State PTA, and your behind-the-scenes producer for today's live episode. We're calling this one Council Conversations Unfiltered because, let's be honest, PTA leadership doesn't come with a manual, but it does come with lots of stories.
And I'm Kathleen, your technology training specialist. Today's table is filled with voices that represent every corner of leadership, from development to diversity, environment to technology, and we're diving into the good, the messy, and the inspiring.
And I'm Mary Sotomayor, your leadership development coordinator. I guess not anymore, right?
Well, for the time being.
Sort of, yeah.
Plus.
Yeah. Whether you're brand new to PTA or the go-to problem solver in your district, today's conversation is for you. We'll be swapping real strategies, lessons learned, and probably a few laughs along the way. Not probably, for sure.
My name is Robin Brunfield. Let's get into it. Grab your notebook, your questions, and if you're a listener later, maybe a cup of coffee. And this is Bite Size, Insights from New York State PTA. Bite Size Live. So, before we open the mics to the table, let's do a lightning round of intros. Share your name, your PTA hat, and one truth you learned from your role that no one warned you about.
Jocelyn Welton, I'm the president of the Lockport Council of PTAs, and what I like about our council is that it's a really great way to organize new unit officers, and bring them into the fold and make sure they understand what it is and welcome them.
My name is Bianca Ordonez. I am the immediate past president, council president, and currently serving as a VP at Susan E. Wiley Elementary School. What I like about our unit is that the floor is always open to give out ideas and just be unified as one. We don't let our personal struggles or personal opinions divert from the topic, which is children.
Okay. So, again, these are truths that you realize, that you found from PTA.
I'm Jennifer Baer. I'm the president of Copeg High School PTSA, and a truth that I've learned about working in PTA is that you cannot and should not attempt to do everything all by yourself.
Robin.
The question was for us.
Oh, it was?
That's the beauty of these podcasts.
Okay. Well, let me do this last one, and then I'll bring it back to you.
Your responses are really good, though.
Yeah.
I better hear my voice and not my class.
You see how I messed up?
It might get cut, so I hope. I'm just kidding. No.
All right, I'm Patrice Racklin. I'm New York State Vice President.
And what truth have you learned?
Over my years, it takes a village. Everybody has to work together.
Maria Sanders. I am the environmental specialist for New York State PTA. The recycle bin is never big enough for papers or old ideas.
Kathleen McEnroe, technology training specialist for New York State PTA. If you teach one leader how to use Canva, you'll have 10 new flyers by the morning.
Yep. Sonia Varillo, New York State PTA Treasurer. Treasurers see it all, the budget, the burnout, and the beauty of teamwork.
Mary Sotomayor, that people will show up for causes more than committees. If you connect to the purpose, they'll follow.
I'm Brenda Cardoza. I'm the diversity coordinator. You can't DEI your way through tokenism. It's about relationships, not representations, checking boxes.
I'm Robin Brumfield. And so the question was, what is the one truth you've learned from your role that no one warned you about? That you can get lost. You really can get lost in it because you really think that you have to do it all. And you don't have to do it all. And that's something that we just try to do because we're trying to overcompensate. But it's something that we have to learn to just give it out. Say, so when someone says, "Oh, I'll help you," sure enough, I got you.
All right, guys, so we asked you to fill out our first active poll. What's one word that describes your PTA council this year? Eager seems to be the number one. We've got organized, sleepy. Who's sleepy? Diverse, hopeful, motivated, unified, collaborative, struggling. All right, we'll work on that today, yeah? Strong and informative. All right. So these questions come straight from you, the leaders who filled out some of our pre-convention forms and things that we've put together as well. So let's jump in. These questions are for my panelists here who have all served or are currently serving as a council role. How do you build a team when everybody's already stretched thin?
How do I build the team when we're already stretched thin? We reach out to other people to help out, and sometimes we get lost in the process of thinking that only people that are PTA people can help you when that's not the case. Tap into those that might not even be a PTA member, because you're not only getting help, but you're building your membership and your pipeline of future officers.
I think Brenda really covered that part. You have to look outside your officers. You have to, tap into your teachers. You have to tap into the custodians. You have to tap into everybody, the safety officers, the principals. Everybody can be part of the team. It doesn't mean that just because I have a child in the school that I'm the only one that can do anything. I will grab anybody. So, if you want to work, and again, it's just a matter of why are we doing this? We're doing this for the children, and if everyone has that same common goal, then we'll be able to reach whatever it is that we need to reach.
It's actually not as difficult as you think. When you provide people with something that they want, they will come out and they will help. We think of the sports parents and the club parents, right? There's never a shortage of parents that are willing to help with the sport that their kid is into. If you make PTA the thing that they're into, they will come and they will help and they will work and they'll do everything that you wanted them to do, and your team will be bigger than you ever imagined. You also have to recognize that people don't have all day and all night. So micro-volunteering. If they have 1 hour to give you, you take that 1 hour and you say thank you very much. Everybody's not going to commit 100%. But if you get 10% from 10 people, ultimately you still have that 100%.
What I'm going to say for this answer is going to resonate across a lot of things. The biggest killer of a lot of this is the way we've always done this. This is the way we will continue to do it until time immemorial. Get rid of that sentence. Be innovative. Feel free to come in, mess stuff up, and just have fun. And, make sure that you know why you're doing it. And other people will follow you. Yeah. Okay. All right. Does anybody in the audience have any great tips that they wanted to share with us before we move on to the next question? Okay. All right. Building teams?
One of the places that we were able to build a team last year, the library.
Yes.
A resource that we overlooked. We were putting on an event where it was supposed to be a fashion show. And we were contacted by the library because they had already done a donation of prom wear. So by collaborating, we were able to have all these donations, bring them to the high school, and then our students went to town. They loved it. And then in turn, this year, we had the library come. They did a wonderful presentation about all the tutoring services and online services and things that we didn't even know existed, and they spoke at our PTA meeting, and it was fantastic. So your local library is a wealth of resources.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right, so our next question. Oh, we have one more.
Here. I'm a little slow.
Your community, we've partnered up with restaurants, small businesses in our area that have seen lots of the people that live in the area that come. We did a fundraiser for family portraits and professional headshots that were discounted for people that just wanted to come and get one, or if they just wanted one photo of their family as opposed to like a huge session. And through that, we had a lot of people that come in that were professionals in the area that would go to that cafe and just work on like pre-law students. So there's lots of people in the area too that want to help the community as well.
Last one right here.
Back to the question, how do you build your team? You see everybody's strength and you capitalize on that. So if you have someone who is amazing at Canva, you make that person a flyer producer. If you have someone who is great at fundraising, you send that person out to the community and you send them, to get your donations or whatever it is. If you have someone who is shy and is not able to do as much as like myself, who's like out there, then you give them something that they are comfortable with. And you just focus on the strengths of everyone, and that's how you build a strong team.
Got another question for you guys to answer.
Which is harder, guys? Recruiting volunteers or keeping volunteers? All right, so it's looking like recruiting volunteers is in the winner category at 80%, keeping volunteers at 20%. Okay. So, ladies, what's one way to reframe "I'm just a volunteer" into power? Okay. I will answer this question very quickly. I would change the words "I'm just a volunteer" to "I'm not just a volunteer." ...
Mary, I would have said the same thing as you did. It's the "I'm just a volunteer" really devalues the incredible work that our volunteers do. You're more than a volunteer. You're the people that keeps the organization going. So I'm with Mary. Just you're more than a volunteer.
So my thing is, when you look at the PTA, and you look at the volunteers, every PTA has their own rhythm. And it's your job as a leader to tap into it. So if you're looking at volunteers and you're saying volunteers, we're more than volunteers, and it's our job to instill in them that you are more than volunteers. Because sometimes if you know that song, "I'm just a bill," I'm only a bill. But if you just say, "Yo, you're a law," if you're like that, we have to, again, express to our people and let them know that you're more than that.
Building that relationship, building it with the school that you're in, with the staff, with the administration, having your board have that relationship, but also like having your membership chair have that relationship, your book fair chair have that relationship. I just think it's all about feeling connected and a buy-in, having a relationship.
Oh, my thing is easy. I bribe them with food and snacks and treats. Come to my meeting, volunteer, and I will feed you all the cookies in the world. On a serious note, it's not just PTA. You're not just a volunteer. You're doing great things for kids. Like, that's our tagline, right? You have to live it and really make it fun.
I'll just say, as you've seen here, at convention, like all the even Patty Fraser, our president, me as treasurer, we're not getting paid. This is volunteer work for us too. Shocker. So, I saw somebody had Somebody had a tote bag. I think Yvonne Johnson, our national PTA president, she posted a tote bag where it was a PTA president bag, but it was like all the responsibilities of president without the paycheck. Yeah. So again, PTA is a our very real nonprofit organization, and so it has real responsibilities, and they're transferable skills that are applicable to any paid job position. I know a lot of people have taken the skills that they've learned in PTA and have successfully transitioned that into a resume that they have used to get positions at other, for a job, So
so you're not just a volunteer; you are building other skills.
You're building other skills that are definitely transferable to a lot of different areas. So whether you choose to, continue to make that kind of impact in the nonprofit world as a volunteer for another nonprofit, or you transfer that into a position that you can actually get a paycheck for. So
I'm going to go off script for a second. How many of you guys have LinkedIn here? How many of you have PTA listed on your LinkedIn profile? Okay. How many of you are updating your positions and your accomplishments on PTA on your profile? Okay. I will tell you, when you use those kinds of systems to leverage all the experience that you have here, there's no way that you can say you're just a volunteer. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So my one request is that if you haven't, on LinkedIn, make sure to update it so that they see all the wonderful PTA stuff you're doing. And write this down, everybody. You are a project manager. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay? All of you. Mm-hmm. All right? Speaking of money, I'm looking right at you. Mm-hmm. All right? How do you keep your sanity during budget season or membership crunch time?
1 hour, 1 day at a time. You have to just know what the deadline is, and you just have to know that, for some positions and some things it's a marathon, and for other things it is sort of a sprint, and you just need to just get through it. You know what I mean? So have your team around you, make sure you have the support, whatever you can do in advance to prepare and train and get, all of your things in a row. But some of it is going to crunch at the last minute. That's just the way sometimes, especially working with volunteers or people that are doing things of odd hours. There is some differences between being a business and being a volunteer. So you do have to recognize that some stuff is going to happen at the last minute, and you just have to expect that.
How many presidents do we have in the room? Okay. What are the different roles that we have here?
PTSA president.
PTSA president. VPs. Are there VPs here? Reporting secretary? Okay.
Let's go back to, you said PTSA president. Yes. And I think that's important because you emphasize what a lot of us, and I'm guilty of that too, that we forget that S. And sometimes I see the PTSA and I'm like, oh, it's just a PTA. But we now more than ever, that S piece, the student, we need to emphasize that. So thank you for clarifying that. You didn't raise your hand, but yeah, I'm a PTSA president. Yeah. Thank you.
The reason I asked is because it's very important that we understand as presidents at the council level, your treasurer has a position. It's their job to do this. You guys work together, but you have to let them do this work, right? Because as presidents, we're like, I'll fix it. Just give it to me. I'll do it. No, we need to get away from that because by May, your hair is gray. You're not walking right, okay? What about you?
Yeah, I don't mess with the budget. Whatever the team, the treasurer, or Sophia Wu, because we always go back to her in Yonkers. I don't touch money. That's the one thing in PTA. I just don't. That's not my thing. But yeah.
Well, I think it was like membership crunch time and budget. So the budget. Let me ask a question. How many of you found? Don't look at Sonia. I'll stand in front of her. The financial accountability. You liked it, loved it. What you think about it?
It was awesome.
I thought it was great. I went 3 times. Not because Sonia's here, but I did go 3 times. I know nothing about money. I never touched money, but I learned what not to do. And I learned, as Mary said, let the treasurer be the treasurer.
because I don't want to be the treasurer.
I thought the financial accountability was wonderful. We really felt as a council that it helped us to clarify what we needed to implement in all of our units, and it helped us to come up with a new kind of framework that we put in place for all of our units. So now we're doing compliance checks with our units so that everybody is kind of doing what they're supposed to be doing, not only with financial accountability, but with our 30-point checklist. We kind of go through that. So we've been doing Zoom meetings and just getting everybody organized. It really helped us. It really helped us to feel like, hey, we're not doing things the way that we need to, but PTA is a business. So we felt like it was great.
All right, guys. If your council had a theme song, what would it be? And yes, we want you to sing it. I'm kidding. Okay. All right. While you guys are pondering and writing your answers to that, we will continue. Yes? All right. So, what's one thing most units misunderstand about council? There's a lot of them. Who wants to start? I'll start at your...
We are not the boss of PTA. Hey. We are not your police. We are there to help you, support you, advise you. We hope and pray that you will take that advice and that guidance. But ultimately, if y'all get in trouble, it is your trouble. Do not come knocking on my door and saying, well, why did that unit get... I mean, one of my units was actually on the financial accountability, and they came back to me and said, how did you let that happen? Each PTA is a self-governing association. Again, we support, we help, but that's it.
Before I knew what council was or what it did, when I first started in PTA, the way the council was actually run in my district, it was sort of an extension of the central office for the district, which is completely incorrect. That's the way the district wanted it, and that's the way the council was run. And then when I got onto council, I was like, this is not the way it's supposed to be. The superintendent is not running this place. And I got, backlash for that. But we're on a better path. But, there's a lot of misunderstanding about it. I thought the people who were on council, I literally thought they had an office in the districts in the district office, because that's the way they were rolling.
I guess the one thing that's misunderstood is the same thing like we're their boss. We're not your boss, but we are here to help and guide and train you. You can come to us if you need some, there's an issue going on, but we're not your boss. So, yeah.
I think the biggest misunderstanding, and I want you guys to hear me when I say this, you are not an additional unit. You should not be doing bake sales. You should not be doing the pie sales. You should be supporting your folks so that they can become better and you guys can work together, and you're the communication gap. You're the communication bridge, I should say, between the staff and your units. When they do good, you do good, the district does good. Got everything up? All right. I will survive. This was fantastic. Because we can. Yes, that's awesome. Oh, I'll stand by you. I'll stand by you guys too. We are family. Good songs, guys.
I saw that question, and I said to myself, my team is here. But to me, it's the song from Friends, I'll Be There For You, right? Aww. But not the song so much, it's just the characters. I was like, I wonder which character, and I think I'm the girl that goes, oh my God. That's me. But I was like, this was like, yeah, we're all different, right? So, but it was pretty cool. I thought the question was for us. But I like that
I'm a Ross. So. Touch my sandwich and we're going to have problems. All right. How can council shift from overseer to ally? Who wants to take it first?
I think it was kind of addressed in the first segment. In the last question, we're not your police, but we are there for you. We are there for you. And once it's that trust and open conversation that you have with those leaders of that unit, and say, how can I support you? What can, because they'll whatever the situation is going, whatever they're going through in that particular unit, whether it's dealing with the administration or dealing with fellow members, you go to the leaders, because what we have to do, we have to allow our leaders to be leaders and instill in them the values about leadership, and that's what this is all about. So how can I help you? So I think when they really see and they know that you're not coming there to be the overseer, I'm coming there to help you. So how can I be part of your team to make your thing better?
See, I had to really think about this question, because I'm kind of am the overseer, unfortunately, if that makes sense. When you have units that are not doing what they should be doing, or like out of compliance, and then you just kind of constantly like babysit, not overseer, but kind of like babysit. And I realized that that's not good for your health. It's not good when you take on the burdens of other units. If they're not willing to do the work, then at some point you got to say, hey, I'm here. When you're ready, come to us. Because you want the best for that school, but if nobody else wants that best for that school, then you cannot take on that responsibility.
Just a practical thing, become an over-communicator. In marketing, someone needs to see something 10 times before it resonates. Our council knows I over-communicate. Sorry, guys. I send Monday morning emails about things they probably saw from region, they saw from national, but they didn't see, right? They're like, oh, this is from region, maybe it's not for me. This is from national, maybe it's not for me. But if I place it in an email and communicate it and make sure that I'm sharing and not gatekeeping, I think it makes life a little more fun.
So I have a very different angle. I am their friend. I literally have had a text group that said they were my favorite kids. And I became a real safe space for them. So even when they thought they were doing something really bad, they knew that they could come to me. They could ask me, is this allowed? Is this okay? How do we fix this? How do we do this? And I was never going to respond from a place of judgment. They were never going to get in trouble. There may have been a few times I covered my ears and said, you didn't even tell me this. So just go back and fix. And that meant y'all are doing something really bad. Go fix it, make it go away. But they always knew that I'm not going to call New York State PTA and tell on you. And I'm not going to call the superintendent and tell on you. So they were comfortable coming to me with everything from the minutia to the OMG. And that's what worked for us.
I think it's a sense of trust. If they trust you, and you instill in them that they can come to you.
So when I became, do you want me to? When I became council president, the first thing that I wanted to have in my agenda was to give power back to the units. So what I did is I spoke to my superintendent, and I had all the principals at my first meeting ever. And I pretty much set the tone as to how I was going to run council, which is giving back the power to the PTA units. Then after that, you're on your own. You already know that council has your back, but also I'm not going to defend the undefendable. So if you mess up, that's on you. You could come to me. I will try to solve it for you or find somebody else to solve it for you. But you already know what everyone is expected, for you to do. So I feel like the main thing was to give the power back to PTA and change the perspective that our superintendent had of PTA, and just give them back that this is not going to be like the past.
Maria. I love that she said that she creates like an atmosphere of trust where they could go and tell you. And I don't know if I'm hearing this correctly, but we did say that we're there for you because if you look bad, I look bad. But right? right?
Yeah.
There's
a little bit of that.
Right? If the councils look bad, then if the PTA units look bad, then council looks bad, and vice versa. So I kind of love that you said that, because if we're going to share and feel and empowered in where we are, we need to also make sure that everybody that is underneath us feels that way. So it's very important that that's transparent, because if we're going to support you when you're doing something well, we're going to also support you when you're doing something bad. And it's not, oh, well, you're on your own. I feel that that's something that, I don't know if I got the miscommunication of it, but...
No, because it taps into what Mary and Maria said.
Yeah.
And again, allowing the councils to be council, but we're not your overseers.
Right.
But we are your supportive.
But somebody has to oversee. Somebody has to oversee in a unit. Right.
Right. That's why I said it was
Right.
a combination of
Right.
both.
But it has to be.
I gave
Right.
back the power to the PTA.
Right.
But at the same
Right.
time, once you know what is expected from you,
Yeah.
you need to create that, on your own. Like, you need to be able to say, well, this is what our council unit said. Bianca, the president said, I got your back, but let me see what I can handle. After, if something goes wrong, then you're there to support your unit.
Right.
You're always there to support your unit. So I think it's a combination of overseer and what was the other? Ally. So it's a combination of both. It's just like a parent.
It's kind of like what Brenda said.
It's like a parent. Sometimes you know how to deal with your kids. I have 2 different kids. The personalities of both kids are different. So I'm not going to yell at Jen, because I know that she's not receptive to that. But I can go to Letty and be like, listen, and be more strong to her than to her.
Okay. Here we have our...
I'll add, a long time ago when I first came in, the first thing that I was told was there is no PTA police.
So as council president, I learned that that job is so different depending on the culture of your district and the real happenings in your units. And so each of you has a very unique and very good and interesting story, and your approach is going to be different depending on what the challenges are. The challenge I found when I took over the position, again, voluntold, as most of you, is that our elementary schools were competing with each other. And all your kids are going to go into the same middle school and high school, and then you're getting upset because the other school is doing a fall festival, and that's your thing. If you succeed, the whole community succeeds. So that was our challenge, one of them. We focused on, we're not going to compete together, we're going to be one unit. Okay, we're going to support each other. You want to advertise each other's events now instead of fighting whether to have them or not. So that's one thing they started doing on each other's social media, advertise each other's events. And that was a big thing in our district because they were competing like they were enemies. It's hard to believe, right? So it's your culture and what's happening, in your home.
All right, Mary, next one.
So getting people is very important, right? We know that. But keeping them, growth, inclusion, that's also just as important, right? So the question that I pose to our panels here, and we do want to hear from the audience as well, how do we welcome new voices without losing our veterans? All right. Who wants to take that one?
Oh, I think it's important that we, value everyone's strength. And so when we have a new person coming in, because that's what it's all about, we don't want to do this forever. So when someone new comes in and, I always do this, I always do that, is the person that's currently in that role. And you say, you know what, you're doing a phenomenal job. Can you train this person, so that they can work with you? We're not trying to replace you. We're just trying to make your job a little easier because we all have different, and again, I think someone said, we always did it this way. And we have to remember, we have to change. Change isn't always bad. It's not easy, but sometimes someone else's, insight or view of something might make that project or whatever it is a little bit easier?
I will say, like what Robin said, you get everybody working together, more like a mentor kind of, or buddy system. You get the new people in to work with the old veterans. But I'm also big on the old people. Listen to the new people because they're coming in with new ideas. They might not be the ideas that you had or that you have done, but you have to give space to those new voices. And I could tell you my time entering PTA was always pushing back on the veterans because why not embrace the new voices? We want to be creative. We want to bring different perspectives. We cannot be like, we can't stay still. We got to, move on and evolve.
I think in any capacity that you serve, council especially, make sure that your board reflects the community. Make sure that you're not just sitting up on a dais talking with the same tone saying the council has decided. Your opinion is not valid. We don't want that, right? We want them to feel that all their ideas are heard, all their ideas we're trying to include, and just make it meaningful. When you ask somebody for their opinion, listen to what they say, understand that the histrionics, things that have happened in the past are important too, right? We need to understand why things happened before we can question them and decide to make a change. So there needs to be a balance there.
Yeah, I think, again, just making sure that you're reflecting your community, and just that you need to consistently make sure that you're putting forth the communication that you're available, right? I think people need to hear that in a wide variety of ways at different times, because when they're doing stuff, they're not, they've got blinders on. So it's just consistently being consistent with your messaging that you're there to support, that you're there to train, offering opportunities. It's not like okay, you missed that, we're moving on to the next thing. It's like, no, I will come back and I will, even though you may have repeated the same thing like a gazillion times, like doing financial like 52 financial accountability trainings in 2 months. For somebody, it's just the first time that they're hearing it, or they weren't able to make space to receive that information. There's, somebody said sometimes they attend things multiple times because the first time they weren't prepared to receive the information, right? They have to have done some stuff or had some experience in order to know what the acronyms are, or to know what it is that you're talking about. So you have to just consistently put yourself in the unit's position of, they don't know what they don't know, and meeting them where they are. So
also, I think people are hesitant when they think the executive committee is a clique. I have almost a whole new board in the unit that I'm president with now, and they remarked that in the elementary school, particularly, sometimes it gets like this, because that's where you have the highest amount of people volunteering. That they didn't want to be a part of their unit board because it was a clique. And they were all friends, and, they just did what they wanted to do. And, they didn't want anybody outside, which I feel for because, when I was first getting onto PTA, when my daughters were in kindergarten, that's what it was. Like, you didn't approach the dais. It was, the first meeting, I was like, what is this? I'm never coming back to that again. So you want to make sure that people are included and that their voice is heard, and they want to keep coming back.
I think it's really just about inclusion, welcoming people as they walk in and making sure that your veterans are part of that planning process. Don't forget the traditions. Don't give up all the traditions and the things that are special to your building, to your town, but leave space for the new people coming in and partner them with a veteran to say, hey, you have that historical information and experience. Can you work with this new person to create something that will serve both? We can't forget the new people coming in, because they're going to grow our association. But at the same token, if you get rid of the veterans, you're going to lose the experience, and that piece is priceless. I mean, I like to say, when people come to your house, right? You greet them at the door, you give them a hug and a kiss, and you ask them if they want a cup of coffee. We go to a PTA meeting, and what happens? You see 5 to 10 people sitting at a dais, and you're expected to let yourself in and sit down, and there's the people at the dais are saying, we need you and we want you, but you feel disconnected. When people start coming in, the veteran should be who is greeting them at the door. Your PTA meeting in your PTA space is your house. Greet people, welcome people the way that you would at home. If the veterans are welcoming the newbies, ultimately you're going to have this perfect team.
So guys, thank you for starting to answer the what's your council superpower. Did everybody get a chance to answer? We've got communication, community, sharing information. We are open-minded. That's awesome. Teamwork, innovation, building community. So, Brenda, I'm looking at you. What does meaningful inclusion look like beyond membership?
Meaningful inclusion to me is just setting out activities that, and I know this is like easier said than done, but set out activities that is open to everybody, making certain accommodations. When you're in PTA, you have to know your community. This is not just you and your team doing things. You got to know who's in your building, who's in the community, because it's beyond the building as well, right? So you got to try to do these activities and events that, caters to everybody. And one example, and I always go back to hostels because that's where I started. But one of the things that we did, we do a winter carnival, and the special needs classroom were not participating, and we felt what's going on, like they're part of our school community. And what we decided to do, we spoke to some of the teachers, and they explained some things because we're not perfect. We don't know what those needs are for those children. So we spoke to the teacher and said, what can we do to bring those families in? What we did was, first of all, we gave them free tickets for an adult and a child. If you want to bring extra, you pay the $5, right? So, but at least a free ticket to say, come and see what we're about. But we also dedicated a time for them to bring their children in where it's not overwhelming. So they were the first group that came in. And we started doing this years ago. Now they all come together. And it's, everybody, works with the special needs kids. They'll go to the tables and they'll play their games. We have a separate area for them to go if they need, some time to cool down. But making that accommodation, even if you just get one parent, you have the accommodation. And that's how you kind of open it for more people to come in.
So I have a good one for you. 100 years ago, we ran a PARP program, and I ran into a mom that I knew from the school, and I was so excited because I was the PARP chair, and we were going to just rock this out. And I was like, hey, are you excited? We have this great PARP contest. And she said, absolutely not. She burst my bubble so hard, I might have cried. She goes, my kid is in an 811. There's no chance that we are going to get the highest number of readers in our class. And I left that interaction and went home, and I was like, wow, that never dawned on us, right? Because it was the class with the most minutes read was going to get a big prize. And it was like a pajama party with pizza and ice cream. Like, we really did it up. And we went home, and I started looking and looking and looking. And I said, well, okay, so we doesn't have to be the highest number of students. We broke it down to the highest percentage of minutes. So you took each class's size, and now this is equitable for everybody, not just the 811 or the 12-1. It's also, it makes it more equitable for the class that has 18 kids versus the class that has 22. So it was a little more work, but honestly, it wasn't that much more work. You took total minutes divided by how many kids are in the class, and that was your total. Ultimately, that 811 class won. They went on to win every single other thing we did in the building. So when we had a membership contest for those, for how many, again, everything was percentage based now, right? Because we started a new culture, a new thought process. That class had like a 300% membership, because once we gave those students that felt unseen and unheard an opportunity to be the stars, those parents jumped at it. So they had aunts, uncles, cousins. Somebody asked me, can the dog join PTA? Because they wanted to bump up their membership numbers.
Did the dog join?
I'm not sure. I did inquire, and I was told it's supposed to be a human.
People will have their pets join.
But sometimes it's just that little tiny change that can make such an impact. that mom is still a volunteer, and she's gone up in the ranks with me. Both our boys graduated last year, and she's still involved. So that says something. It's that little, and again, not really a difficult, complicated thing, but it was impactful.
Yeah. And guys, we're going to be sharing stories from units as well, because it's important for you to carry that with you onto council, so that when folks ask you these questions, you don't forget, right? You never want to get so high that you forget what happens at this level. You know what I mean?
Advice that you're hearing now, right? So it is important, as Mary said. We are councils, so we're the ones that everyone comes to. But if you don't hear these stories, then and if one of your units comes with an idea or comes with a question, you can say, "Oh, I remember what she said about the dog." We got, whatever, So we got to remember that. But in terms of the inclusion, when I was council president, I had 39 units. 9 were, and Brenda has them now. So
somebody this week's gonna have them next.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
So 9 of them were high schools, and the other 30 were elementary. So when it came to being inclusion, to try and find a way where I can include everyone, I really had to sit back and think about, how do I make it so that everyone has a voice? How do I make it so that everyone feels they have access to me? Or to the council? So again, it's that council's that leadership that you go back to your units and you let them know we're here for you. Whatever you need, we have you. We tried to do gatherings where it was with high schools. We do gatherings as a council where it was elementary schools, because we wanted to hear their voices. So just like this setting, we tried to do that in our units so that everyone felt included. And again, it's also the emails. As Mary said, you want to send that email out to everyone so that everyone feels like, hey, Robin sent me this, or the council leadership sent me that. And you want to make sure that they feel like, oh, okay, she got me, or they got me.
So I don't know if you ladies want to say anything. So I'm going to hone us back in, because I think, right, this is a council conversation. And I will have to say that shifting from a PTA president unit mind to a council mind, it was very challenging for me, because I am great, in my opinion, at the unit level. At the council, I struggle, because what am I supposed to do? I want to do a fundraiser. I want to do this and that. So I have these grand ideas, but I'm like, we're a council. We have 39 units. How do I get those 39 units to work together? That's in Yonkers, that's a beast in itself. There is a South and it's a split, 2 different sets of groups. So how do you get them to do something together? And we're still trying to grasp with that. We want to do a community event, but how do you bring them all together, right? So I think in the council for us in Yonkers, I would say, it's 39 units, and it's very challenging because they're different.
Sorry, Robin.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm getting my little steps in. That's fine.
So going back to what you said, I also came in as a unit president, and when I got to council, I realized, because I am good at that. I'm good at fundraising. I'm good at the little things, So when I went back to council, I said, how can I help my unit without doing the cupcake sales and doing all of this? Well, I thought of generational wealth. So what I did was I created a fundraiser that could help in years to come. So I set up clothing bins, and I actually got that from one of the vendors here. And I was lucky enough to be that the superintendent actually went for the idea. And now my next president has that wealth coming in, and she's able to do whatever she wants and needs without thinking of what she's going to do as a fundraiser. So
Okay.
So I wanted to ask, so my district is, I think I have 6 or 7 units, but, we have like 4,600 students, I think, so it's not huge, but it's a small city. But there's been some talk in the past, which I don't support, of consolidating a PTA because we want to have our units. Okay. And the people who are in charge now anyway want to have our units, but we have been looking at how to work together at like a district level, so I've been exploring ways. So for example, I did a bunch of work last year on providing reflections materials for the different units so that everybody could participate. I mean, they're participating as units, but I help coordinate. Here's a coordinator in each building, all that kind of stuff. Council. Yeah, as council, exactly. So I think that's a really good, I don't know where this question is going, but I think that's a really good place to work together at the council level is like, let's make sure we all do reflections. As long as people are willing, here's what PARP is, that kind of stuff, especially when you have brand new officers. So I was just wondering if anybody else has ideas of how they worked at a council level for that kind of thing.
When I was, I'm going to give it to you, Mary. When I was council president, we were at convention, and I said, I was sitting at the table, and they were doing the award for PARP, and I was sitting at a unit, and I said, "Don't you guys even do this?" And they were like, "What?" I said, "Don't you do this already? Just apply for it." And not only, so I told them, but I told other units, because I'm not, my mom said I'll talk to the dead, and I will. But I will tell everybody the same thing because I want us all to be successful. Because when you're successful, as Mary said, I'm successful. So I would go to all my units, look, do a PARP. Do this. It costs nothing. And then looking at the literacy program from, what was it, yesterday? I love these things because I come back hyped and I'm like, everybody got to read. Everybody. And so as a council, you can spread that message to all your units, whether they're elementary or high school. Everybody reads. And you just, it's all about you and how you spread the message. You can't give it to one and not give it to the others. You got to give everybody that same love, like a mom or a grandma.
How many of you have monthly meetings with the staff and all of your schools?
The staff?
Well, staff meaning like the superintendent, the administration. Excuse me. Yeah. Yes. Okay. I'm not sure if you guys heard me, but I was asking how many of you have, as a council president or council members, monthly meetings where you're including the superintendent, the principals, and all the building presidents. Okay. If you're not, you should be. This is a bragging session. That's the way I see it. The buildings get to talk about all the wonderful things that are going on in their buildings, and other schools get to hear and pull like ideas from those places. That's a good place to start talking about programs that they might not be doing. If they're not doing the PARP, they're not doing reflections, or if they are, this is a good bragging place, or just to kind of give descriptions on why they should be doing it. Because guess what? Superintendent's sitting right there, right? Their principal is hopefully sitting there too. So that's a really good spot to start that conversation.
So I'll piggyback on that and say at our council meetings, we always had chair people for everything. So there's a PARP chair, there's a reflection chair, there's an education chair, there's a legislative chair that was able to roll out information that everybody could take. We also know who on here downloaded the Band app for this weekend. Okay, go back to Band and create a unit president chat. Give them a space to collaborate. You will be amazed at how successful they will be when they learn to talk to one another. And you can be in it. Over the years, sometimes council president was part of our chat and other times they were not. But we found that the Band app.
But you made one for your district.
Yes. Just we had one channel for just the presidents, one for the secretaries, one for the treasurers, one for the VPs. The other ones weren't as successful. The treasurers did wind up collaborating and asking each other questions because really, who knows the president's plight better than another president? And who knows the community frustration better than the other president? FOMO is real, right? How come your school has field day and my school does not? How come you do a play and my school does not? But when the presidents come together, like somebody thinks this event is too much and we can't do it. When they speak to the other president, they realize it's really doable. It's possible, and they support each other, give each other tips and tricks. Within your district, there's no competition, or at least there shouldn't be. So that's a great way to get something like Reflections or PARP or something like that running in every building.
Guys, we could talk about this forever. And we hope that you do communicate with us if you have any additional questions. We're going to do one final rapid fire, which means just a quick answer. So I guess as a council president, what tool or habit did you think you did to keep yourself grounded?
I had to rely on my team. And I learned the hard way because I wasn't relying on them because I wanted to do everything until I had a stroke. And that was the eye-opening. And my team is here and Robin is here. And without them, we wouldn't be successful. So thank you, ladies.
What I did was I instilled leadership in my team. I let them, you guys, you got it. Because Brenda was my first VP. She started off as my third VP, and then she became my first VP. And the thing about it is, if you come or not, sometimes you know how you see that child that is kind of like needs some little extra help. I just try to instill leadership. Do it. Go ahead. Handle it. Do it yourself.
I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I shop a lot. It's my meditation. It's my happy place. I clear my mind so that when I'm going to be my most effective self, I'm in a good place.
I would say be ready to cut things loose. There are events that were not serving us anymore. We did a 5K that had, declined in participation. I was like, oh, well, we're not doing that anymore. We've traditionally done it, but cut it off.
I got to work with my best friends. And after we worked really hard, we played really hard. We went out, we danced and sang and got silly, and we had a good time. So as exhausting as the work was, we enjoyed each other so much that it didn't matter.
Guys, thank you so much for coming to this. You will be hearing it soon. All right. Yes. And please know that there are other awesome podcast episodes that we'd love for you guys to hear, things that can help you guys along your journey. Please feel free to contact us anytime. Okay. Have a good flight home if you're leaving today. Thank you for coming to conference.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.